Former WWE superstar Bobby Fish has been spotted backstage at recent WWE NXT live events. Plus, WWE Day 1 has officially been cancelled. Rhea Ripley returns to action. Sasha Banks teases a major Japanese match against a former WWE superstar. Gabe Sapolsky, what's his role going forward in WWE? And what's the latest with WWE on Hulu? Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of WWE. So let's start off talking about Bobby Fish. Where's the lie, as he said on Impact recently. This is quite an interesting story. It comes from Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select, who has said that some familiar names have shown up backstage in WWE once again. Fightful Select is reporting that Bobby Fish and Anthony Green were both backstage at recent NXT live events. Now, Fish, of course, recently departed AEW after a less than a year-long run with the company. Since then, of course, he's joined Impact Wrestling. He worked the most recent tapings. He worked Bound for Glory. He made his debut for the company at Victory Road. He's also worked a ton of independent dates too, but he isn't locked down to a contract as best as Fightful knows. So despite making these appearances for Impact Wrestling, he is not under contract, as is the case, it must be said, for several of the Impact Wrestling roster. Now, Fish served as a guest coach for NXT, according to sources familiar with the situation, and of course he was released by WWE in 2021. Anthony Green, formerly known as August Grey, during his WWE run from 2020 to 2021 before he was released. Since then, he's returned to being heavily active on the independent wrestling scene, working over 100 matches over the last year. He also worked 8 AEW matches, including a couple of matches on Dynamite. Ironically enough, one of them was against the aforementioned Bobby Fish. Now, those that Fightful spoke with confirmed that the two were still on very good terms with WWE. We'll have to wait and see if it means that either are on their way back to WWE. I would think maybe Green, that's a possibility. He's 29, still very young, and maybe, again, it's a case of Triple H seeing something in him that maybe those didn't, whilst Triple H was away with his health concerns, and maybe it's a case of him coming back. Bobby Fish has been doing his utmost best to get back in WWE. The issue is with him, of course, is that he doesn't really fit now. NXT is still not what it was under Triple H. Triple H may have, obviously, creative control over the company now, but the idea of NXT being developmental is still the plan for that brand. It's not a third brand anymore. It's still very much a developmental brand. Now, the way that WWE is scouting talent and the way that WWE is positioning that brand may be somewhat different to the Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard image of that brand moving forward, but NXT still will be fundamentally a developmental brand. That's not to say that Bobby Fish can't come in NXT and work with the younger talent, but he's in his mid-40s at this point. Whether or not you want to believe or not believe the rumors of him saying to Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, leave AEW and come with me and go to WWE, to be honest, the more I think about it, I think the less it makes sense. Because they're both really badly injured. So I don't know if that is completely accurate. I mean, Kyle O'Reilly's just recently undergone neck fusion surgery. He's not wrestling for a really long time. Adam Cole's dealing with a really, really, really serious concussion. He might not ever wrestle again. I think he will, but that's an issue there. And Bobby Fish, without Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, does not have that much value to WWE as an on-screen talent. Now, as a behind-the-scenes coach, maybe he's got a lot of experience and he's been around and he knows the NXT and WWE system certainly. So I guess that's maybe a possibility. But the way I could see Bobby Fish being back in the WWE fold is as a coach at the Performance Center. We saw that Oney Lorcan is working now as a permanent coach at the Performance Center, so it's entirely possible that Bobby Fish will. Look, but for whatever reason, social media recently has decided they don't like Bobby Fish, and I think some of the reasons are pretty justified. But that clip recently that's going around, it's at the post-Bound for Glory tapings, and I think it's Josh Alexander's in the ring, Bully Ray's in the ring, Steve Maclin's on the outside of the ring, and Bobby Fish is there, and he goes, folks, where's the lie? And, to say that you could hear a pin drop isn't it's an under exaggeration, to be honest with you. It's just it's a bad clip. It's a bad clip, and it's a bad reaction. And maybe that's what Bobby Fish is looking for. He's looking for him to being able to go back to WWE to work there as a performance center coach. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see when it comes to that one. Day one. We spoke about day one recently, didn't we, guys? Talking about what could be next. And obviously, it had been the plan for tickets to go on sale for day one to make it an annual event. And tickets were meant to go on sale in September. They never did. It led to a lot of speculation regarding what was the plan for the event going forward. In addition to that, there had been rumors that WWE was reconsidering when to place the event. Of course, it can only really take place on one day, that being New Year's Day, because it's called Day One. Now, of course, WWE hosted the first ever edition of WWE Day One on January 1st, 2022, which saw Brock Lesnar win the WWE Championship in a 5-way match against Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, Seth freaking Rollins, and then WWE Champion Big E. Now, WWE had previously announced that the Day One Premium Live event would become a yearly tradition, announcing the 2023 edition for, you guessed it, January 1st, 2023. It was recently reported that WWE was planning on changing the date of the event, but as it turns out, the event will not take place whatsoever. Per WrestleNomics, WWE has cancelled the planned Day One Premium Live event with its no date set to be rescheduled, completely removing it from the calendar. The removal of WWE Day One now means that there are no WWE Premium Live events scheduled after Survivor Series next month until the Royal Rumble on January 28, 2023. This is not a bad thing. Now, obviously, it's a bad thing if you were planning on going. It's a bad thing if you live in Atlanta and you wanted to go to the show, and there was rumors that maybe Cody Rhodes could return because it was in his hometown of Atlanta. That's a bad thing for that. But I think we've got past the point now that there needs to be a pay-per-view, premium live event, whatever you want to call it. We've got past the point, in my opinion, that there has to be a premium live event every single month. There doesn't need to be, in my opinion, there doesn't need to be an event every single month. That was a thing that really got in place in the Attitude Era because there was a demand for it, and because business was so hot at the time that it required it. And it's not to say that WWE can't fill out arenas every single month for pay-per-views, because they can. And it's not to say that there isn't necessarily a demand for it every single month, because people will watch anything at this stage. But I do think there is an oversaturation with these kind of events. And we have seen, not that WWE is trying to copy the AEW model or anything like that, but we have seen that you don't have to have one every single month. You can not have one for a couple of months and it'd be fine. And between Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble, it's a dead space for WWE programming and pay-per-view anyway. You've got the holiday season, you've got Christmas, and just historically, it's not particularly a thriving period for WWE anyway. It's always a bit of a black spot and not a lot really happens. You get these longer, stretched out TV feuds that start coming out of Survivor Series and finish up at the Rumble, but they've got nothing to do with WrestleMania most of the time. That's what you really see. So it makes sense in reality just to say, you know what, let's not run a pay-per-view during that period of time. Let's try and tell a bigger story. Let's build up, because it certainly makes the Rumble feel bigger. And I wasn't against the Day One event, because I did feel like it felt like somewhat of a big event, and I wasn't against making New Year's Day a wrestling tradition. I'm all for having more wrestling traditions or traditional pay-per-view events in WWE, but it's not the end of the world, realistically. And again, you could argue having that extra pay-per-view in January maybe takes away from the Royal Rumble. It was the same when you had New Year's Revolution, which was very early on in the Rumble. It would be like the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th or 5th day of January, and then you would have the Royal Rumble at the end of the month. And you could argue, again, it kind of took away from it a little bit. So, in my opinion, it's not the end of the world. It's a fun event whilst it was able to be done. Day One this year, I believe, is a Sunday, so WWE wants to really stick to that Saturday schedule, which as a fan over here in the UK, I love, because it means I get my Sundays back, and I'm not absolutely exhausted on a Monday too. So I think that I think it's not the worst thing, and I think WWE's come to the right decision there, certainly. Rhea Ripley is back competing once again, and it's good. The Judgment Day is finally whole once again. Rhea Ripley has returned to in-ring action this past weekend, wrestling in a mixed tag team match alongside Damian Priest on a Saturday at a WWE live event in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The match was Rhea's first since June, when Ripley was sidelined with a brain and teeth injury, despite losing the contest to the tandem of Dolph Ziggler and Nikki ASH, which, by the way, it's a heck of a team for the Judgment Day to lose to. Really? The Judgment Day, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest are putting over Dolph Ziggler and Nikki ASH on the live event circuit. That's a strange booking. Nevertheless, Ripley took to Twitter to celebrate her return, saying, "I'm back, bitches." Ripley's recovery from an errant knee to the face has been an ongoing process, one which even involved Ripley getting extensive dental work, as well as wearing a heart monitor for a period of time. She declared herself Iron Man whilst wearing the monitor. Before the injury, Ripley had been #1 contender for Bianca Belair's WWE Raw Women's Championship, but had to miss the Money in the Bank Premium live event in July. During her timeout of active in-ring competition, she has maintained a constant presence on WWE programming, helping Judgment Day sway the scion of the Mysterio dynasty, Dominic Mysterio, over to their side. Ripley has been part of the Judgment Day stable since WrestleMania Backlash, where Ripley helped then Judgment Day leader Edge defeat AJ Styles. Edge, though, has since been banished from the group in place of the new leader, Finn Balor. The group remains a thorn in the side of AJ Styles, who turned to some old friends for backup recently in the form of the returning Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. So good to see that Rhea Ripley is back in in-ring action. And that Raw Women's division is absolutely stacked at the moment, isn't it? Even without having Becky Lynch there, you've still got Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Bayley, Rhea Ripley. It's so strong, and possibly some other names returning soon. So that is a real intensive division, and obviously it paves the way for Rhea Ripley versus Beth Phoenix, which clearly they have plans to do. Speaking of the WWE Women's Division, Sasha Banks has teased a major match, but not in WWE. Mercedes Varnado, also known as Sasha Banks, may have teased a match against Kairi, otherwise known as Kairi Sane. The Boss pondered the belt in one of her recent Instagram stories, which was posted this past weekend. Banks' Instagram story depicted a graphic featuring the Boss and Kairi, along with the IWGP Women's Championship. Banks' accompanying caption contained the image of South Park character Eric Cartman and noted that the idea is so very interesting. The original graphic for the dream match was created by Twitter user at Comic Angels. Easy for me to say. Kairi has since responded to the news on social media. On Sunday, October 16, that being today, she took to Twitter and shared a screenshot of the image along with the shocked face emoji and 2 red exclamation marks. Now, of course, Banks hasn't stepped foot into a wrestling ring since she and Naomi walked out of an episode of Raw earlier this year, vacating their Women's Tag Team Championships in the process. However, there is supposedly interest within WWE to bring both women back into the fold. As of this recording right now, talks reportedly between the two sides are said to be ongoing. Meanwhile, Kairi returned to Stardom earlier this year. She has since been involved in the inaugural IWGP Women's Championship tournament. It remains to be seen if Banks and Kairi will compete against each other down the line, though Banks has been vocal about her desire to compete in Japan in the past. So, you know, it's a possibility. I mean, as far as we're aware, Sasha Banks isn't under contract to WWE right now, and with that IWGP Women's Championship, it would feel like something Banks would do. She's a pro wrestling fan at the end of the day, and she's a fan of Stardom, and she's a fan of the Japanese Joshi wrestlers. So don't rule it out. While you could argue she's maybe just teasing, don't rule it out. I think there might be a possibility in the future. Gabe Sapolsky, we spoke about Gabe Sapolsky the other day and his roles in WWE going forward. Well, Gabe Sapolsky reportedly has been scouting talent for WWE, following him rejoining the company under the new regime of Triple H, Nick Khan, and Stephanie McMahon. Following Triple H's elevation to Chief Content Officer, it was reported that WWE is once again interested in scouting indie talent. The company had notably shifted its recruitment strategy to focus on hiring and training young athletes rather than signing experienced wrestlers in 2021 under the previous management regime. WWE has already had their eyes on independent wrestling shows once again, with PW Insider reporting that Gabe Sapolsky was spotted scouting talent for WWE at the October 14 AAW Jim Liner Memorial Tournament event in Chicago, Illinois. The event featured a number of top names, including Impact stars Josh Alexander, Ace Austin, and Masa Slamovich. Notable free agents in action included Jake Something, who of course left Impact Wrestling back in March. Sapolsky was rehired by WWE under said new regime following his release back in January of this year. The former Ring of Honor head booker and Evolve founder currently has several responsibilities on the WWE creative team and now is in charge of booking extras for Raw and SmackDown television tapings. Sapolsky, of course, is just one of several backstage names who have been rehired with WWE, with the likes of Road Dogg Brian James and Ryan Katz also returning to the fold. Of course, they were notably Triple H guys working in NXT prior to their releases respectively from the company. So there you go when it comes to Gabe Sapolsky, and as I mentioned, I think that Triple H will be slowly reassembling his team. Some people coming back to the company will be easier than others, as quite a few of them are also under contract elsewhere right now. But Gabe Sapolsky is a Triple H guy, and it's no surprise to see Gabe Sapolsky heavily involved with the creative and scouting side of things. Finally, what's the update with WWE on Hulu? I've seen some people ask this question, and we might have some answers. An update has emerged on WWE content on Hulu following recent negotiations between the two sides over a new streaming deal. Previous reports indicated that WWE content was to be pulled from the streaming service last month when WWE's deal with Hulu was set to expire. The expiration date of WWE shows on the streaming service was pushed back several times, while WWE and Hulu were still in talks over terms for a new deal. While there has been little news on the situation since late September, most WWE content on Hulu has an expiration date of either 9 or 10 days per PW Insider. The report noted that newer episodes of SmackDown that have aired in the last 3 weeks don't appear, though, to have expiration dates. Hulu currently features a variety of WWE shows, including Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Main Event, Total Divas, and Total Bellas. It had previously been speculated that WWE would want to move all of their content over to NBC Peacock. This streaming service has been the home of the WWE Network in the US since March of 2021. WWE has been operating under a new management regime since July, with Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan serving as co-CEOs and Triple H overseeing creative as chief content officer. Obviously, for over here in the UK, this isn't much of a story, as we still have the WWE Network. Yes, I know some people don't like Peacock, and it can be challenging for them over in the States. But over here, we still have the good old WWE Network. And you don't know what you've got until it's gone, because people complain about the network, but it's still pretty great over here in the UK. So we're very fortunate for that. So there you go, guys. That's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.